Fuck this show! In the best way possible. Lovingly. Fuck this show. Lovingly. Tenderly. Because it didn't do that to me. Oh my god. Okay. So obviously I have the other episode if you haven't listened to it. So I'm usually do like a non-spoiler section. It will be very short for this episode. Like, I enjoyed the show from the beginning, and I don't know if, like, if you didn't like season 1 or 2, you know, would probably not gonna like 4 through 6 either, even though I definitely enjoyed these 2 seasons more. So, this fucking show, man. Like, it is at once so fucking funny, and it also knows how to hurt me. And I don't know how much more I can fucking take. I have 30 more episodes left, or 28 or so. I think season 5 is 12 episodes, and season 6 is like 16 episodes, I think. But I don't know if I'm gonna be ready, because like season 3 was already good. Like, one of the things that stood out to me this season was how they'd like mess around with how the episodes were like structured or framed or presented in general. So like, in season 3, there was the episode where Bojack is in the underwater city, and there's like no dialogue at all. So it's entirely an episode told with just the body language and expressions of the characters, and it was good. There was one where we kind of got in season 4, we kind of got inside Bojack's head, and you see what is in his internal thoughts. What are his internal thoughts like? And you see the depression, the self-hatred, the imposter syndrome, and it's sad. Or the episode where it's like, it's framed as like a descendant of Princess Carolyn's is like telling a story about her life from the future, and that one hurt when they explained why that was the case. And at the end of the episode, I liked Princess Carolyn before, but now I like really like her after these 2 seasons, because this season is like, obviously the characters who have been there are getting good stuff still, but like there's definitely certain characters like probably Princess Carolyn and Beatrice, Bojack's mother, who got a lot that made them, or especially Beatrice, who was, in the previous season, she's just like, oh yeah, Bojack's shitty mom, and she had some really cutting scenes, I suppose. But this, god damn. But I guess starting with season 3 is like, it had the underwater episode. It had Sarah Lynn, which that hurt and was sad. And like at the end of the season, when Bojack's about to fucking like, when he like lets go the wheel, and there was the earlier line in the season with the one hamster guy who worked on the Bojack Horseman show with, where it's like, oh, when you've lost everything, or when you've removed yourself from everything, then maybe you can finally find the way forward. And, Bojack, he just was ready to give up everything. And then he saw the horses, and really good scene. But the way the running jokes work, or just like the spaghetti, that because of like Margot Martindale, and then the one subplot with the one, restaurant guy who got fired and started a new restaurant, and the pasta started cooking in the ocean because of the Secretariat ad campaign that was the mirror. And the cooking pasta started to sink down on the underwater city, and they were like, in order to stop it, we need maybe a bunch of spaghetti strainers, which Peanut Butter had been stockpiling at his home, and for reasons he didn't even know about. And also we need a bunch of organized orca, like powerful swimmer, a fleet of powerful swimmers like orcas, and the whole abracadabra with the like the way everything built up to like the most contrived situation possible is so, like, when it happened, I was like awestruck at like, how did they make this happen? How did they fucking do this? And it's so perfect, it's absurd, but it's all it's so funny. Oh my god. And the dark humor these 2 seasons was just like on point in like hilarious, but also Jesus fucking Christ ways. Like the abortion episode where there's like a fucking song, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. Or I love the line where it's like, there's the episode where Diane becomes pro-gun because it makes her feel safe in a world that, where women regularly get harassed and are at risk and just generally weaker. So get a gun, keep yourself safe. But then one woman causes a mass shooting, and suddenly all the politicians are like, one woman shooting another person to death is one too many. And she just says it like, wow, people in this country hate women more than they love guns. And it's like, holy shit. The show could be fucking funny as hell. And then it hurts you because, like, God, like the Beatrice episodes will probably stand out to me because of how interesting the presentation can be. Especially, like, again, that was normal throughout the season, but, like, there was the earlier episode where you kind of had, like, past and present mingling, where, like, especially the scene where, so you have Bojack, and you have Eddie the Dragonfly, and they're at the one outside, like, restaurant, and there's, like, a piano, and then in the flashback, you had Beatrice and her mom go to that same place, and she and Eddie are singing the same, or, you know, performing the same song, and, like, it's a duet, but it's a duet across time. And so, like, they're not, like, there's two scenes playing at the same time, and then it evolves into, like, after the song, that, like, they both kind of, like, cause scenes, so to speak. So you have it, like, both are in visual at the same time. But it's, like, so well done, and, like, it kind of jumps between them, so it's not confusing at all. It's just amazingly well done, and that shit like that is just, like, it's really fucking cool and good. And the other one was the flashback episode in, like, it was the second to last season, where you kind of get her whole life, and it's almost, like, glitchy because it's happening in her, because she's old, she's losing her cognitive abilities, she's just not all there anymore. And so like, there's, like, parts where, like, the lettering on the hotel will change, or, you know, there's one, like, room that she had in her house that's, like, there's, like, a portrait, and it would, like, change with or, like, fade in with other portraits of her family at different points in her life. And alongside just really just sad, brutal, you know, like, it very much goes into, like, with, like, in a very, like, on the nose, and, like there's a tongue-in-cheekness about it almost, but it's, like, very direct, like, her dad would be like, well, as a man of the times, I have no idea what to do, how to handle a woman's feelings, so I'm just going to leave. While his, you know, wife was crying over their son who died in World War II, and then I have half a mind to, God. And then at the end of the season, Beatrice has half a mind as she's losing herself to her age and her dementia, and it's just, God damn. But yeah, I guess, and that also was interesting in contrast to Princess Carolyn, who, you know, she got a bunch of different stuff as her, you know, manager, and she's trying to have a baby, and she has Ralph, the mouse, who, you know, they're actually in a good relationship. When they go to his family's house, and they're, like, super racist against cats, and, like, but even before that, outside, they're, like, offering her, like, oh, would you like some wine? Would you like some cigarettes? Would you like a good punch in the stomach to make you feel alive? Because she's pregnant, and she doesn't want to tell them. And she can't just say, oh, do you want to ride this roller coaster we have in our backyard? I mean, I can't see a good reason why you'd say no, and if you say no, I will definitely be offended. And it's like, it's just it's so funny. Oh god, and it just fucking, like, the joke goes for like a minute and a half, and the episodes are longer at this point, so it's perfectly fine, and it's but yeah, I guess what I thought interesting about the Princess Carol and Beatrice contrast is that, like, they're women very much of their times in a sense, but also maybe in some ways, like, well, I guess with Beatrice, you know, she was far smarter than a woman was kind of, like, accepted to be, if that makes sense, because a woman has to be subservient to the man, and she was too witty even for her father as a kid, let alone her husband, who was, you know, very much an overachiever, and maybe that's the wrong word. He wanted to achieve things, but he was writing a book his entire life, and it never got made. And, you know, he was very prideful, and, you know, Beatrice would, you know, drag him because, you know, he was not as great as he said he was, and she was smarter, but as a woman, well, she's supposed to be the mother, she's supposed to be a caretaker. Like, she even had these, you know, idealized images of a child, of having a child that, you know, were tied to, like, the whole imagery with the doll, and how, you know, that as a, you know, even as a kid, she had a doll, so there's some level of, like, wanting to care for a child there, and it got destroyed, so, you know, she kind of maybe wanted to, like, make up for that, so to speak, by actually having a child, but then babies are fucking annoying. And then, of course, you have the whole scene with her mom where after she got the lobotomy, she said, don't love anyone as much as I loved my son because, you'd be hurt if something happened. And she basically said, don't love anyone else. And Beatrice didn't love anyone else. And, except maybe, she eloped with, Horseman because, out of rejection of her father. And she did like him and find him interesting. Like, they had an understanding of each other. But that didn't match up to, like, having a life together. And, she was shitty to Bojack, who was just like this kid who just wants to please his parents, and they aren't pleased by anything. And he got fucked up. But, so in that way, like, both Beatrice and Carolyn are very, like, competent women. But Beatrice was sort of trapped by the time period that she was born and raised in and the general sexism of the times, where Carolyn is in a more, like, there's obviously still sexism going around, as mentioned, like, and people in this country hate women more than they do love guns. And, but at the same time, she is able to be more of an independent woman, but she can't have a kid, so she can't be a woman in a sense in the way that she specifically wants to, basically. And like it's they're almost inverses in a way because like Beatrice wanted to be a mother, but she became a mother, but she couldn't be a mother. A couple characters even say Carolyn would be a great mother, but she can't become one. And yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting how they sort of reflect each other, even though I don't even think they've met in the series. But yeah, and then of course, like I guess that was a running theme even from season 3, because season 3 you had there was a couple times, well, at least 1 or 2 times when Bojack said that he's been worried about like, okay, what he's going to leave behind when he dies. And obviously a living legacy would be like a literal child, a child that the season fucking ends with you see Holly at the end of the episode, or partway towards the end of the episode, and like even just that, like obviously I've gotten much more of a resolution in season 4, but even just like seeing that was like fuck. And then of course Diane gets pregnant and then she has an abortion. Seeing season 4 go even more into that with like Bojack having to struggle with like parenting with Holly, and well of course you have like Carolyn and Beatrice as contrast, as I mentioned, though Diane and Peanut Butter's relationship also, because I remember I was talking with Vindy and he mentioned how, like, Bojack wants, like, or how is it? Yeah, Bojack is kind of, like, both Bojack and Peanut Butter are sort of shaped by the systems in various ways, but, like, Peanut Butter is, even though he seems like he might be fake because he does so much of reality TV, and, like, there's a scene where he proposed to Diane, and it was, like, in front of cameras, so he overblew it. Or the scene where he's on the game show with Bojack, and he gets into like a real argument, but then like once it's done, once it's time, he just switches back into his game show host gears. But like it's not because he's a fake person; it's because he's just completely genuine to the point that he almost becomes too real when he fulfills Diane's like childish fantasy, where I want a bell room where I have, it's like Belle's house in Beauty and the Beast, where it's a library and there's ladders and it's all, and he does that for her, and she, like, because it's no longer her fantasy anymore, because she was completely, obviously, it'd be absurd to have that kind of room in reality, right? Of just it's a fucking logistical hassle, the books weren't even real, it'd be a pain in the ass to clean, like, the fact that it was this gift, like, she has to justify all the time and money he spent on it for her sake, like, she was content to keep it as a fantasy, but Peanut Butter is like, he's too genuine for her, and I guess in a sense, which is an interesting conflict, especially because Bojack struggles to be genuine. Like he's often lying. Like with Ethan around, he's like, yeah, I want to do it. He didn't want to do it, but he said that he would because he didn't want to hurt Ethan's feelings. A person he's known for a long time, or he had known for a long time, and that's causes a lot of his problems. But see, it's like there's more of the show to go. I was spoiling a couple things because Dan hates me, but they haven't happened yet. But I can see the build up towards them. But anyway, I guess what I thought another like specific part I thought was good was how like, because again Carolyn is kind of like trying to be this independent woman, even though, and she is kind of struggling alone. Like, she had their whole episode where, everything's just going horribly wrong. She's not able to tell Ralph the truth in a, like, honest and sincere way. She kind of like, woo, haha, I lost a kid. I had a miscarriage. Like, she's just drunk. Like, she's losing her mind, because she can't rely on anyone else. And of course, working with Bojack for 20 years, like, there's a reason she can't rely on anyone else, or she struggles with that. Like no wonder she became independent when Bojack was, like, one of the men she was with for the longest period of time, like, a constant letdown, and, and to the point that he's, like, finally becoming, like, deeply aware of it, with, especially with fucking Sarah Lynn dying, and, he's realizing, like, shit, I don't want to ruin Holly the same way that I did all these other people in my life. And so he, and, like, he didn't even do anything, like, wrong explicitly. Like, it was his mom, like, that was drugging her coffee, and gave her the overdose, and, like, it wasn't, sure, Bojack should have been watching her more closely, but, like, he didn't do, like, there was more that he could have done, and that was sort of what he realized, but he didn't ruin he didn't make the situation explicitly like he has so many times before, right? And because, like, that's something I've been concerned about, because Bojack is, like, struggling with similar problems that he has from the beginning of the series. He also has to, like, change in some ways, but, like, there's got to be, like, a careful balance for the rest of the show, right? Like, he can't completely be this the same piece of shit if the show's gonna have any kind of arc to it. But also, if he changes too much, then where's the show? Because it's Bojack Horseman and this sad, depressed man, right? So yeah, that's what he realizes. He goes, I should be doing more. And, like, after, like, the one episode where he's just being a privileged asshole, where it's like, hey, I'm rich and famous, I should be able to get to the front of this line. And but no, it turns out bureaucracy is a fucking ass, and it makes Bojack into an ass, and he has to. But then, for Holly's sake, he's willing to go through that multiple times in, like, every hospital in LA, a big fucking city, and then do it again in San Francisco until he finds the birth certificate, finds their real mother, and finds out that Holly is actually his half sister. And then, like, he starts helping people, because in season 3 there's the episode, like, It's You, like, where everyone is, like, doing fine without Bojack in their life, and then the moment he kind of comes into their life, it all starts going wrong, and that's when Todd rants at him, where it's like, it's you're the problem, like, you are actively making everyone's life worse. And so in season 4, like, it was like a little scene where Princess Carolyn's been pushed to the edge, just trying to be independent, and she's finally just goes to Bojack and tries to rely on someone else, the least reliable person in her life, mind, and because she has no one else, and she also specifically used Bojack, and, like, she needs him specifically. She goes to him, and he just goes, yeah, I'll do it. Like, he doesn't even hear her out fully. It's just that, like, because he's recognizing that, maybe he should be helping more people, and especially, like, what he reasons to her is like, yeah, you've helped me so much that, how can I say no? Right? Because, he's getting self-awareness. He's changing. He's becoming a horseman instead of a horse boy. I don't know. Like, he's already an old, yeah, but it's good. And I mean, again, I expect there to be more sad, depressing things and characters falling victim to themselves and their own faults. But, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess Holly was good. I didn't mention her specifically. But yeah. That's why I don't have much specifically to say about her. She was good. Beatrice also just became one of my favorite characters. Is she awful as a human, as a horse being? Yes. But she's a good character. And holy shit. Like, she had her whole thing where she's calling Bojack the whole name, but it makes sense, because of course she would associate that person with Holly, because she had the pictures and she already knew. But God, it's a good fucking show. It's once again, it's hard to not just watch the rest, especially since I had to take, like, a month extra break in between seasons 2 and season 3. So, yep. Anyway, good show about the horse person, and all the good things that were in season 1 and 2 came back and were even better if they didn't just stay the same. Like the animal jokes are still funny, and the little gags and all the background. Like if you pause and you'll see like book names, and it's well made show. It's good. It's cool. I like it, and I got 2 seasons left, and I don't know if I can if I'll be able to take it. I already cried like 3 times these last 2 seasons or so, and after crying only once in like season 2, I think. And whew, what am I in for?